After giving birth to my first children, I thought my husband would finally prioritize us over his sister. But that wasn't the case. This time, he'd chosen her over me for the last time. So I exposed her for the manipulative snake she was. You'd think bringing home your newborn twins would be one of the happiest moments of your life. For me, it started like that. But it soon spiraled into a devastating nightmare. After 5 days in the hospital, recovering from an emergency C-section, I was finally discharged and ready to head home with my gorgeous twin sons, Aiden and Noah. I'd envisioned this moment for months. Lucas, my husband, picking us up at the hospital with balloons, tears of joy in his eyes as he cradled one of the boys. Instead, at the last minute, I got a rushed phone call that would shatter my world. "Hey, sweetie," my husband said, his tone tense. "I'm so sorry, but I can't come pick you guys up like we planned." "What?" I asked, adjusting Noah's blanket. "Lucas, I just had twins. What's so urgent that you can't?" "It's Lindsay." He cut me off, mentioning his sister. "She's freaking out again. Says her ex is harassing her, and she needs me to help her move some stuff." His words hit me like a slap in the face. "What? You're choosing Lindsay over us right now? Lucas, I need you here." "I know, Mia," he said, clearly irritated. "But this is serious." "She's terrified. I'll get to you as soon as I can." My voice wavered with disbelief. "Fine. I'll just find a ride home with 2 newborns by myself." "Thanks, babe," he mumbled before hanging up. Lucas's sister lived in a neighboring town, so there was no way he'd be back that day. Knowing how he always played the hero for Lindsay, I realized he'd likely stay the night to protect her. Furious and heartbroken, I arranged for a ride. As the line went dead, I stared at my phone, tears stinging my eyes. How had I ended up here? The same sister-in-law, Sil, who constantly dropped snide comments about my parenting skills and pushed her way into every family decision, was now ruining this moment. I bundled the boys into their car seats, loaded everything into the cab Lucas had generously paid for, and headed home, trying not to cry. When we pulled into the driveway, my blood ran cold. My suitcases, diaper bags, and even a stack of unopened baby gifts were scattered across the lawn. My chest tightened as dread settled over me. I stepped out, clutching Aiden's carrier in one hand and Noah's in the other. Barely able to breathe, I fumbled with my keys, juggling the boys and my rising panic. But the lock wouldn't budge. Then I saw it. A crumpled piece of paper taped to the mailbox. "Get out of my house. You and your kids aren't welcome here anymore, Lucas." The words blurred as tears welled up. My legs wobbled beneath me, and I gripped the car seats like lifelines. My mind screamed, "No, no, no. This can't be happening." I thought of Lucas's smile when we first met, his excitement at the gender reveal, his vows to protect and love me forever. Now this? Desperate for answers, I called him, straight to voicemail. Again and again, my boys began wailing, their cries piercing the cold air as I frantically rocked them, trying to keep it together. "Mom," I whispered hoarsely, dialing the one person I could turn to. "Mia," she answered immediately. "What's wrong? Are you okay? Are the twins okay?" I choked back sobs. "Lucas changed the locks. He threw my stuff out, Mom. There's a note. He doesn't want me here anymore." "What?" she shrieked. "That ungrateful coward, stay put. I'm on my way right now." Minutes felt like hours before she arrived. Mom took one look at the mess and narrowed her eyes, fuming. "This doesn't make sense. Lucas wouldn't do this. He loves you and the boys." "That's what I thought," I said, rocking Noah to calm his cries. "But he's not answering." "And what does 'I know everything' even mean?" I asked, showing her the harsh note. "I'm so sorry, darling," she said, wrapping me in a comforting hug. "Let's go to my place until we can reach your husband, okay?" She helped me load the bags into her car and whisked us away to her house. After we dissected what had happened and repeatedly tried calling Lucas with no answer, my anxiety spiked. That night, I barely slept. The next morning, I decided I needed answers. Leaving Aiden and Noah with Mom, I drove back to the house. The yard was empty, and my belongings were nowhere to be seen. I knocked on the door. No response. I walked around to the back, peering through the windows, and froze. Lucas's sister, Lindsay, was sitting at the dining table, sipping tea. I banged on the door, and she looked up, startled, almost spilling her tea. When she saw me, she smirked. "What are you doing here?" I demanded, banging on the door harder. Lindsay rose slowly and opened the door just a crack. "Mia, didn't you see the note? You're not welcome here." "Where's Lucas?" I snapped. "He's at the hospital in my city," she said smoothly, "taking care of his sick sister." I stared at her, disbelief washing over me. "Sick? You're standing right here." She shrugged, her lips curling into a malicious smile. "Maybe I'm feeling better. Miracles happen." "You lied to him, didn't you? You faked being sick." Her smile widened. "And what are you going to do about it?" My hands balled into fists. "Why? Why would you do this?" She crossed her arms, smugness radiating from her. "I told Lucas from the start that we needed a boy to carry on the family name. But you gave us two boys." "Useless," she confessed unapologetically, finally revealing her truth after all these years I've spent with her brother. Her words hit me like a gut punch, leaving me speechless. She took my silence as permission to continue. "I knew you'd ruin Lucas's life, so I took matters into my own hands. The note was a little too much, but I needed you to believe he wanted you gone. I even made sure he couldn't call you by taking his phone when he wasn't looking. You were supposed to pack your things and leave us all behind. But here you are." I couldn't breathe. This woman had orchestrated everything, lied to Lucas, convinced him to leave me under false pretenses, locked me out of our home, and even took his phone just to get rid of me, all because she didn't approve of my sons. "You threw us out over that." "Of course," she said, unfazed. "I even bribed a nurse at the hospital to keep him there longer. It worked, didn't it?" I felt sick. "You're insane." "Call me what you want," she sneered. "I call it protecting my family. Besides, my Lucas always takes my side, and he'll come around to see things my way like he always does." Her words echoed in my mind as I drove to the hospital where Lucas was still waiting. With every mile, my anger and disbelief grew. How could she justify this cruelty? My hands gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white with fury. I knew my Mill was mean, but I didn't think she was evil. She never approved of my relationship or marriage to her son, always believing Lucas deserved someone wealthier and fancier, unlike me. When I reached the hospital, I found my husband pacing in the waiting room, his eyes shadowed with worry. "Mia," he said, rushing toward me. "Where have you been? I don't have my phone or know your number by heart, so I couldn't call you. Your sister took your phone." I cut him off. "She faked her illness and locked me out of the house." He froze, confusion and anger flashing across his face. "What? That doesn't make any sense." "She set me up, wrote a fake note from you sending me away, and bribed a nurse to lie to you," I said, my voice trembling. "Lindsay's at our house, sipping tea like she's the queen of the world." "Wait, what?" "Why would she?" "Because our sons aren't boys," I said bitterly. The shock turned to rage on his face. Without saying a word, he grabbed his keys and stormed out, with me following close behind. When we got home, Lindsay was exactly where I'd left her, looking utterly unbothered. But her smugness vanished when she saw the determined look on Lucas's face. "Mom," he said, his voice cold and sharp. "What did you do?" "I thought you were in the hospital." She opened her mouth, likely to lie, but Lucas cut her off. "Save it. I know everything." "Lindsay, I was just trying to." "You've done enough," he snapped. "You made me abandon my wife and children for a fake emergency. Then you locked my wife, who just gave birth, and our newborn babies out of our home. On top of that, you cut our ability to communicate during such a crucial time by stealing my phone." "Lucas, darling, I just wanted to keep you safe." "This isn't how this was supposed to go," Lindsay replied pleadingly. "Keep me safe from my wife and children? Who told you I wanted boys? What makes you think my girls aren't good enough for me just because of their gender? That's a problem you have, not me. And if you want sons, I suggest you go make them yourself." I stood with my mouth agape, having never seen Lucas this angry. I won't lie, a part of me was proud that he was proving himself worthy of me by defending my and the children's honor. At that moment, I loved him more than ever before. "Pack your things and leave," he demanded. She gaped at him, tears forming. "You can't mean that. I'm your mother, and Mia is my wife. Those are my sons. If you can't respect them, you're not part of our lives." For once, Lindsay was speechless. She stormed upstairs to pack, slamming doors as she went. Lucas turned to me, his eyes full of remorse. "I'm so sorry, my love. I didn't know." I let out a shaky breath, the tension easing just a little. "I just want us to move forward." Lindsay left that night. My husband apologized repeatedly, vowing to make things right. And he did. He changed the locks, blocked his sister's number, and even reported the nurse who had taken the bribe. It wasn't easy, but for months we worked on rebuilding our life. One evening, as I rocked Aidan and Noah to sleep, I realized Lindsay had tried to destroy us but only managed to bring us closer together. Sadly, Mia isn't the only daughter-in-law who has had to face a difficult sister-in-law. In the following story, Sarah's sister-in-law surprises her and her husband with a DNA test for their son, thinking it would finally break them up. But things didn't play out in her favor the way she imagined.